Thanks for tuning in. We talk NBA offseason, why sports talk is dominated by NBA and NFL, and we have an interesting discussion about John McEnroe's comments towards Serena Williams.
And so him saying that about Serena, maybe once she has the baby, starts her own family, she said, you know what, give me number 700 in the world and watch me smoke him. 6'1", 6'2".
She might smoke him, but can she smoke the next guy, 701? Can she smoke 702?
So in 2017, why do women have to continue to prove that? If she's not a woman,
no, she doesn't have to prove anything else at all.
So then why say that?
Because he's John McEnroe,
but
he's also John McEnroe.
So he also was asked the same question a little bit later and asked to rank his top tennis players of all time, and then he throws her in as number 5. So your number 5 tennis player of all time is number 700 ever in the world?
Because
get out of here with that.
You're tuned into the New Channel Sports Podcast, the ultimate sports talk podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to the New Channel Sports Podcast. I am O'Enyi. What's going down, Chris?
What's good, man? Let's get to it.
Well, we're just going to go right into it. Oh, yeah, Trey, you're here too. I forgot that you're here.
What's up, man?
Nothing much, man. Why are you wearing this Saints hat?
Man, I got a hat for everything, but you know what's on my mind.
What's on your mind?
Cowboy Nation, what up? Laker Nation. We're back.
Back doing what?
Back to winning ways, baby.
Winning ways.
George Hill's coming to town too, but I have a hat to match. I have a fetish, so I have a hat for almost every team.
Okay.
Except for the Redskins and the Giants and the Eagles. NFC East.
NFC East. Okay.
No go. Everybody else is fair game.
The Eagles have a pretty good logo, though, man.
Not on mine. No, sir. No, sir.
Absolutely not.
No.
All right. So we've been talking about a lot of NBA. Why is that? Why do we only talk about the NBA? Pretty much NBA, NFL. That's what sports talk is about right now.
I mean, do you, with as much stuff that's going on and how important it is and the moves that are happening right now, I don't know that it makes sense to talk about anything else. You know, that I'm not sure how weak Kevin Durant looks right now, you know, taking less money to keep that championship team together so they can win another 3, 4, 5 championships. But what else is there to talk about?
Well, first of all, we both know Kevin Durant's move was weak. And this is how we know it was weak for this conversation we're having right now. We're having this conversation right now because of Kevin Durant. Every team in the NBA is doing one of two things. You're either trying your best to load up to beat Kevin Durant's super team because of his weak move, or you're just stripping down and saying we're going to suck really bad for a long time.
Is it weak that he's taking less money to keep that team together? Is that weak or is that admirable?
It was dumb.
Why is it dumb?
It's dumb because the owners are billionaires. He just saved the owners $10 million or $20 million when you have the luxury tax, and they're billionaires. He could have eaten his big contract and still had the players that he wanted, like a LeBron James who's sitting back and say, if you don't do what I say, I'm out. Instead of being smart like Kevin Durant, I was like LeBron, what he's doing, he's taking less money for a team that's really good, that he made that good. For what?
Since when is that not the way to go? Like superstars being greedy and taking that money and then blowing up a team or not having them there, losing Andre Iguodala, that hurts that team. Losing, Sean Livingston, that hurts that team. So if he's doing what it takes to keep that team together, I think that shows his commitment to winning and that this wasn't just about getting that one ring. He wants multiple rings.
See, I don't agree with what you say. You say some superstars are being greedy. See, I think that's a rhetoric that a lot of fans have. They're not being greedy. You got to go get yours when you can. These are billionaires we're talking about. Every single owner in the NBA, before they even own a team, is already a billionaire. I'm not going to cry over you having to pay a $20 million luxury tax when you're already making billions off the players. The Warriors specifically are about to move into a new building very soon. They're making lots of money. You don't need to give the owners a discount. For what?
See, I disagree with that. I think that when you're older and you don't have another contract to sign, like David West did when he took less money to go to San Antonio, he just left like $9 million on the table to go chase a ring. That's not what Kevin Durant's doing. He has another contract. Once the salary cap and everything is maxed out, he's not going to be able to get more money. You don't think in a year or two from right now, when that when he comes up for a contract talk and they got him and Clay and Draymond, you don't think they're gonna remember that and pay him that money?
They were going to remember regardless. What I'm saying is he has another contract and he's going to max out on that contract. All he did now is just leave, $10, $12 million on the table?
$9 million.
That's still money.
Yeah.
Left on the table.
I agree with you.
For what? To give your owner a break?
I think his legacy.
The owner that'll ship you out once they're done with you?
I think his legacy is going to, when he wins 3 championships, I think that $9 million will be worth it. That $9 million, he'll make that money up in no time.
You see, what you're not understanding is I say he could win those 3 championships and still have that extra money in the bank.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I think you have an opportunity to screw over the owners, make them pay that luxury tax, and then force their hand, and then you wind up in a situation like you are in Cleveland, where you don't have the tools around you to win the championship. So that in that point, then the $4 or $5 million is more important to you than winning the championship, and that's where Kevin Durant. You take $4 or $5 more million, but you don't win the championship the next couple of years. Is it worth it?
Cleveland is in a situation where if it wasn't because of Kevin Durant going to a team with 72 wins, that they would be
winning
won
67.
Right now. I understand your point. What I'm saying is what they did in Cleveland is the exact same thing. Cleveland likely would have won a championship this year if Kevin Durant didn't make his move. So LeBron is in a situation where he's saying, I'm basically going to take the point where I'm the leader of this team / owner. And I see that superstars do have that power because the owners are going to have to pay that luxury tax. Why not force their hand when you are a superstar, like Kevin Durant, the second best player in the league?
So when his contract comes up for negotiation again, the salary cap will just happen to be $9 million higher than what it is right now. So you don't think Golden State will remember that?
My point is they're going to remember that regardless, right? I mean, are they going to say, Kevin Durant, because you made us pay the luxury tax, we're not going to max you out? What he's going to do? He's going to go take a 1-year deal with somebody else and then re-up again.
Right, but then he loses out on playing with the best team in the world. Possibly the best. When this is all said and done, because of the decisions that he's made, we will be talking about the greatest basketball team ever assembled.
And that's great. I'm not even debating that. What I'm saying is he could have that plus his extra money. Yeah. They were going to pay that luxury tax. They were going to pay that. Do you see Curry? Curry didn't give him no money. Curry got his $201 million. Yeah, but you know why? Because Aisha told him go get that money.
But Curry is going to be 2 years into his contract when Durant re-ups and he's able to make that amount of money. So they can't all do it at the same time. It doesn't work like that. So now Iguodala will be gone. He's gone. He'll be retired. By the time this contract's over with. It's not going to be important to sign him. But now we've got to sign Clay. We've got to sign Durant. We've got to sign Green. Now we're talking. And I think that's what he did. And I think you make those types of sacrifices when you're making that amount of money to be able to win championships and to cement your legacy. When this guy finishes when this contract is up, I'm telling you right now, there will not be a person alive who can make an argument to say that any team ever assembled in the National Basketball Association was better than this Golden State Warriors team. No team. No MJ team, no Magic team, no Shaq and Kobe, nobody. They will be the greatest NBA team ever.
And that makes my point, though. They're the greatest team ever with this contract, the $9 million that he's leaving now, right? So him taking that money now makes no difference. It makes no difference.
I think it's smart of him, and I think that shows dedication to his teammates as well to say, you know what, Andre, we do want you back. Because I could take mine and get mine. Yeah, I got to force him to make a decision. I don't think they pay the salary cap exception for Andre Iguodala.
That's what you do, though. If you're Kevin Durant, instead of saying, hey, I'll take a discount, I'll put the onus on the owners, just like LeBron is doing. And GM, what are you doing? That's what LeBron did all season. What are you doing?
And that's why LeBron's waiting for Melo and is going to lose another superstar to get him. Lose another star to get him. And that's why Jimmy Butler's not in Cleveland. And that's why Paul George isn't in Cleveland. That's why no one else is going to Cleveland, because you've paid this much money already. That's why Kyrie Irving's potentially not going to be back there.
Nobody's going to Cleveland because they have an owner in Dan Gilbert who fired one of the best GMs in basketball. So that's a whole different situation.
I'm not a fan of that. Pay me my money, let me get mine, and you figure out the rest. And maybe that's the corporate person in me that just says, you know what? Yeah, I may not be able to make as much because I'm going to make them some money, but in the long run, I think Kevin Durant's going to be fine.
I think I just have problems with athletes giving billionaires discounts. That's essentially what happened. You're giving a billionaire discount. Thank you.
Does Kevin Durant's decision directly impact what's happened right now as far as Jimmy Butler being shipped before he becomes a free agent. Paul George being shipped before he becomes a free agent.
Absolutely. If you don't
Chris
ship
Paul.
them, if you don't ship them, you lose them. And so I'm better get something for you now. And I think that you're going to see a lot. Before, teams would take their chances. Now there's no guarantee that these people are signing back with the teams they were with before. Think about it. Who's the last? Okay, Blake Griffin did it, but I think he did it probably because he wasn't going to get that amount of money anywhere else. Anybody else who wasn't very injured, how many of them really decide to go back to their teams in recent years? A lot of them are like, you know what? I'm out. I mean, just this year alone, look how many people said it. Gordon Hayward may be the person that goes back, but other than that, who's going back to where they're at? Even though there is more money available. Most of those guys, I mean, they could get max contracts at other places, to stay where they're at. And instead, like, you know what? I'll take a one less year, right, and go over here. And it's sad. It's really sad to me, though.
Do you think if OKC can go back in time, they would have traded Kevin Durant before they let him go to where he wanted to go?
I think so, but I think they would have done the same thing with Russell Westbrook, and it would have been a mistake. So I think because he wanted to stay.
If the owners decide that they're going to ship people off, players off, before they decide to leave on their own, is that a smart move by the owners?
I think it just depends. It depends who your superstar is. When you have it, I think the best way to do it if you're an owner now, because these superstars, what they're doing is they're smart. You're not going to say you're leaving your team when you have 2 years left on your deal and then get booed by your home crowd, right? So I think owners need to check the temperature of the players when they probably have about 2 years left. That's the smartest thing to do. You want to ship them off like Chicago did with Jimmy, because Jimmy has another year after this upcoming season, instead of Paul George getting shipped off for, you're talking about, that's basically pennies on the dollar when you do it on the last year.
Yeah, I think this collective bargaining agreement is going to have to be changed a little bit, because the way that it is right now, it's working out. These players are getting paid. You know, I had a nice debate about, NFL players and maybe the people born in the 80s, where, Magic Johnson signed that 25-year, $25 million contract. And that was like, whoa. Yeah. Now these guys, there's going to be 10 people making that annually. I mean, right now people make fun of the Bobby Bonilla contract, how they're paying. That's nothing compared to what these guys are getting paid. NFL players got nothing compared to what these NBA players are getting right now. And it's because of the way these contracts are structured. So I'm glad to see players taking advantage of it. But I also like to see these kids, like when I get old and gray, my kid's going to be able to argue with me that, my Warriors team in my day was better than your Bulls team. And you know what? They're going to be right.
I still think the Bulls were a better team.
No way.
I do think so. I think they could slow the game down and really make it tough. Well, let's say they're playing by the 90s rules.
That's a different story.
If they're playing by the 90s rules, they can hang with them. Yeah. If they're playing by the rules today.
And the three-point shot was where it was at in the 90s?
Well, I don't think it's going to be as easy for Curry to score on Ron Harper. I don't think it's going to be as easy for Durant to score on Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen might be the only man in NBA history that can actually contain Kevin Durant. I'm not going to say he's going to stop him, but he's the only one that can contain him. Then Rodman is going to give Draymond Green some problems. Okay, and then who's going to hold Jordan in the post? I know Klay Thompson. He's not going to do anything.
Yeah, but if you take away Klay Thompson, you're going to bring in a solid defender in Iguodala. He's not going to face what he faced.
And then you're going to bring Tony Kukoc off that bench as well.
Yeah.
And who's going to hold him?
Not worried about him.
Did he just say Tony Kukoc?
He did.
Tony Kukoc. Do you remember the story about Tony Kukoc and Scottie Pippen, right?
Yeah,
where Phil Jackson said, "Oh no, Scottie. You're not taking the last shot. Tony Kukoc is."
Scotty's still bitter about that.
And he is. And Tony Kukoc hit that shot too. Okay? So no clown Tony Kukoc. Okay? Yeah, but anyway, we're supposed to start this show about talking about why the NBA dominates everything, and we're talking about NBA. NBA, NFL. Usually around this time, the NFL would be popping, right?
Yeah.
Some player would be doing something stupid. The NFL's been pretty good this year. There has been no really mischief going on so far.
Irving got suspended from my Cowboys with the PED.
Yeah, but PEDs now, I'm talking about like...
Yeah, Ray Rice.
Rice, that kind of stuff. Nothing's been going on with that. So the NFL's been pretty quiet.
Johnny Manziel,
he's out the league, so we can't talk about him. But, most of the time we do talk about NBA, NFL. Why is that? Why is that what's dominates sports talk right now? Why don't we talk about more hockey? Wimbledon is getting ready to start soon. We also have Major League Soccer. This is international soccer. Why don't we talk about these other sports?
First of all, you should never bring up soccer on this show, ever.
Soccer is a lot more popular than you think, bro.
Okay, I know how popular soccer is outside of the United States of America. But in America, it's just not it. But football will take over soon. I think once everyone gets into training camp, give it a couple weeks, football will demand the
obviously,
airways.
it will.
And the crazy part about this, and you're going to laugh at me, I think what saves football more than just the players and everything else itself is fantasy football.
Right.
If
absolutely.
fantasy football wasn't as big as it is, I think we don't start talking about football until after the third preseason
Right. They're already
game.
sending me stuff to start my fantasy football league. It's July. It's June, bro.
Exactly.
Why are you sending me stuff to start my fantasy football league?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I have enough people to start the league
I
yet.
think I got my first email in April saying, "Hey, are you going to renew the league?" I'm like,
I'm like, what month is this? Is this April? Or is it August? Like, what's going on here, man?
yeah, but I think that's what it is. Since fantasy football saved the NFL, they have fantasy everything else as well. But I think NFL in America, football is still king. Although baseball is America's pastime, football will remain king for a long, long time.
I think it's because both the NFL and the NBA are very star driven. I understand in baseball, they're obviously baseball stars. I get that. But in the NBA and the NFL, it's heavily star driven. You have your Tom Brady out there as a quarterback. You have your LeBron. You have your Currys. You have your Durants. And that's what people want to see. Honestly, when you look at all the sports across the landscape, especially the big sports in the United States, baseball has the most parity. You know what I mean? Any team could literally win it in a given year. But in basketball, it's not really like that. As fans, we like to complain saying, oh, man, I wish my team had a chance. Let's say you're Milwaukee. You want your Bucks to win. You know, the Bucks are not going to win. But in baseball, the Bucks actually could win. And for some reason, that turns off the average fan, right? Because anything can happen, and it turns off the average fan. But when you watch the NBA, you know there's a predicted end. And for some reason, people go towards that because there is a specific villain. We love to hate on a team, i.e. the Warriors, right? Just like the Cowboys. Nobody likes them because they don't win. You know, it's interesting to watch. So that's what I think it is.
Yeah,
NFL has parity too, though, right?
not as much.
Not as much.
Not as much, but it still has parity.
But I just tell you, I watch a lot of baseball. Baseball was the very first sport that I learned how to play. One of the first sports I started coaching as a kid.
You didn't play soccer as a kid?
Heck no, soccer. Nobody plays soccer in America.
I played soccer as a kid.
In America?
Yeah, I did in America.
Did you really?
I did. I was on a team. I was pretty cold too.
Well, soccer from where I'm from, and I live right down the street in San Antonio. Soccer was big on the youth level, but after that, I mean, even now, how many thousands of people are going to go watch a college soccer match? They're matches, right? Soccer match, or do you call them games? What do you call them?
It's a match.
It's a match. Right?
It's a match.
So who's going to go watch soccer? I mean, right now, the Dynamo have an amazing facility. I think that facility is amazing. It was cheap, it was affordable, and it was quite interesting. But you're not going to get 100,000, 110,000 like you will at the big house to watch a college football game. This is the United States of America. We do football, we do basketball, we play baseball, which is America's pastime. And that's just a game that game too is affordable. Soccer and also with football, we play football once a week, right? So I think the buildup behind that and the length of the season, I think that works well for football because you get excited. You want to do that. Basketball, not so much. Baseball, baseball season is long.
It's real long.
I can't believe that they're already at the midway point. All-Star games next week.
Yeah.
Right? The home run derby. They got some stars in baseball right now. I mean, Aaron Judge. I mean, they got people right now playing baseball that are very, very talented, and people aren't talking about it because they don't know. But in baseball, I still don't understand some of the rules of soccer. People don't really understand the rules in baseball as well. So as far as a casual fan, like you're mentioning, if you really don't know the rules, you really don't know what's going on. If you're looking at that game, you think, oh, that guy's just standing there. When the ball's hit, he didn't move. No, you didn't see that. Like the right fielder goes and backs up first base, the left fielder's going back up third. I don't think if you don't know all the intricacies of it, then you miss it.
Yeah, it is pretty. In general, when I hear people talk about baseball, they're like, "Oh no, it's boring to watch." as opposed to other sports.
I
People
love
like to
watching
watch.
baseball.
Well, you're a boring person. But as far as other sports, people like to watch football, even though I understand it. You know, you can be there with your wife or your girlfriend, and they're like, explain to me what's going on. They're really into what's going on. Even though they don't understand it, they like to watch it. Same thing with basketball to a certain point, to a certain degree.
What about soccer? Who watches soccer?
You see, I think you're doing soccer a disservice, to be honest with you, because you have teams in the MLS. I'm a big soccer fan. I can't lie. And you have teams in the MLS like the Seattle Sounders
I'm
who
familiar.
sell it out, and the Portland Timbers who sell out, and the teams in
I
Toronto
know.
that sell out. Vancouver sells out. New York sells out. I mean, they have a lot of good teams, and it's growing. Now, there's certainly some stadiums, like you mentioned, the Dynamo, who have a beautiful stadium and a really good team, and nobody shows up to watch. Well, we live in, that's a city like Houston, though, where there's so many teams. Astros are doing really good right now. Rockets are making noise. Texas made a big development. There's a lot of
we're
things
in
going on.
Texas, too.
Exactly. But soccer is a bigger sport than you're making it seem.
Soccer is a huge sport, but who likes watching ties? Who watches it? Who ties? That's like
the everything that everybody hates about soccer. That's the one thing they say. Who wants to watch a tie?
who wants to do that? So how come? How come it's a good soccer?
Just like you said about the intricacies of baseball, is the same thing with soccer. There are some people who get it.
There's no
right?
tie. No tie. Who ties? Why would you go and play a game in the tie?
Well, they don't use steroids on a soccer field either, though.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. And the only thing I keep hearing, soccer is growing. Soccer is growing. Maybe at the youth level because everybody keeps having kids, but at the professional level, the average attendance in 2016, 21,692 people watching a soccer match, bro.
Well, this is the thing about soccer and any other sport.
It's boring.
Well, the thing about soccer and any other sport that is behind the NFL and NBA is because as we grow up, right here in America, no one talks about being the next greatest soccer player. We talk about either going to the NFL or the NBA. Now, with the NFL, I do think they're steering in a direction to where more people are saying, I don't want my son to play football.
Yeah.
Because of the concussion problem and stuff like that.
Because you don't get concussions in soccer.
Not as much as football. No, you don't. Not as much as football. No, you don't.
So the headers. So I've seen several reports about them taking.
Well, you can get concussions in boxing and NFL and soccer, yes, but not as much as the NFL. And it is something that people are aware of now.
Exactly.
They made a movie about it.
I'm
football
familiar.
concussions. So that's going to avert younger people from actually playing football. Like, what else I'm going to play? They might decide to do soccer.
And I think you make an interesting point, particularly with the NFL. There have been lots of strides trying to make the NFL safer, but there is a kind of a consensus out there that the NFL is not safe. So I think if I was going to compare a sport, even though NFL is king right now, I think that is the one sport that has the biggest chink in its armor that could possibly see its ratings go down and dip. And also the NFL, when you watch it week to week, there are a lot of commercials, man.
They talked about lowering that down this year.
It's ridiculous. When you score a touchdown, they kick a field goal, you get a commercial. They get the kickoff, you get another commercial. I think the average casual fan, specifically with these new, I guess the new generation, I guess I'm a part of that too, with the Twitter and all that, we want instant access. And the NFL kind of is slowing down with that because there's so many breaks in the action. But when you watch a soccer match, there ain't no break. It's straight
But there's
action.
no scoring. There's no scoring. Men's soccer is actually second to men's football in the injury rate per 1,000 athletes when it comes to concussions.
Okay.
So soccer's not far behind. Soccer has more concussions than wrestling, than lacrosse, than all of that. And there's more people that play soccer than that play football.
Right. That makes
And
it
it's
even
still
worse.
not popular.
Well, not in the United States, anyway. All over the world, though, soccer or football, the original football, is number one.
Okay.
And in soccer, they're not wearing helmets; they're wearing padding,
And you get
all
to kick
that
the
stuff.
ball when you're out of bounds. The ball could be in bounds and you're out of bounds and the ball's still alive. Like, who does that? Like, what kind of rules are these? Like, somebody, please, if you're listening, help me learn the rules of soccer. And then I've taken my family. I've seen it. I'm not a hater. I've been to a Sounders game. I've been to a Timbers game. And they're rowdy. I didn't get to sit down because they stood up the whole darn time yelling and screaming, which was an amazing atmosphere. But this is America. In America, we play football. We play basketball. We play baseball. That's
Okay,
it.
Donald Trump.
Everything else is just an afterthought. When we talk sports, we don't want to hear about Landon Donovan, Mia Hamm. Those are all old school people, right?
Right.
We don't want to hear about who else?
Khalil Clint Dempsey.
Clint Dempsey. We don't want to hear about that. We don't want to hear about that. There's a small segment of people that want to do that. In fact, we could take a poll right now from anybody that's listening to it. Nobody wants to hear about soccer. Even baseball. Baseball is great right now. The game of baseball, they're on pace to hit more home runs than they've ever hit before. And in fact, people believe that they probably juice the baseballs right now so that way they could bring some more excitement. Once soccer brings more excitement, add a timeout or something. Give me some cheerleaders, something. Like it's just boring. It's boring. I'm just being real. I'm not trying to hate on you.
Even here in the U.S., when the World Cup comes around, there is a buzz.
That's it. Every 4 years.
I'm just saying though, there is still a buzz when it comes around.
USA, I'm all for it. I love it. But that's it. And maybe if that was a little bit more frequent, it would be okay.
Well, let me ask you a question then. Let's just say one of those top 2 major leagues drop off, the NBA or NFL. Which sport overtakes that?
MLB.
It'll be MLB?
Yeah. I think so. But, I mean, you're talking about pay. I mean, Ronaldo gets, his contract, what those guys get paid, what those football clubs pay people is ridiculous. I mean, like, those guys get paid. I don't know how they're financed. I don't even want to know what happens in these other countries and how these guys get this money.
Exactly.
But those guys get paid. I mean, they get paid. What was his name? Chicharito, who started playing.
Hernandez.
Yeah. I mean, those guys are getting paid right now. And I mean, don't get me wrong. In FIFA, I'm a beast. So if you ever want some, I'm just saying, I'm good.
We just think about Madden first. There we go from there. Okay.
So I'm not. I play FIFA on PS4 all the time. So I've learned a lot of their players, right? But Ibrahimovic,
okay.
Yeah, I got it.
For a hater, you know a lot.
I do.
Right.
I play FIFA. I play FIFA. FIFA's fun to play. But here in America, it's just always been that way. And the only thing we keep hearing is, oh, it's growing. It's growing. I've been hearing that since 2000. And attendance has gone up some, but it's not ever, 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 ever going to be what we get.
Do you think things will change if we have a system like the European countries do? Because I know we have the college right now, but let's be honest, if you understand soccer, if you're developing in college at that point, we have people turning professionals. You're either good at that point, you're 18, 19, or you're not. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's a system that we have where we have younger players bypassing college? Because that's the thing in America, though. I think that's what stops soccer from being really big. A lot of our best players go to college. What if we have a system that bypasses college, kind of like the European countries do?
I think that would be interesting, especially if these kids saw a different way, or maybe there's another avenue that I could take to become elite or be good or get paid for doing what I'm doing. And right now, only a very small percentage of these kids are going to make the NBA or the NFL. So I get that. But these kids got to see something different. And growing up or being around a lot of people from the inner city is just not seen as something that's cool. You know, and so some of the larger metropolitan areas, soccer's okay, but the stigma behind it is you've got to be a certain type of person or come from a certain lifestyle, or like it's just not introduced to a large segment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, some of those inner city kids never get a chance. So they see the World Cup and they hear all that and they see it on the video games, but it's not introduced to them. If you ask these kids in the inner city, you want to play football or play soccer, some of those kids play soccer. Some people look at them like, what?
I think they look at them that way because it's one of two things. First thing is money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're not one of the best, you're not going to get paid playing soccer in the United States. You're going to have to leave the country. So as a young man growing up, if I'm good at football and I'm good at soccer, I'm going to go ahead and play football. At least I can stay in my country. That's why I was bringing up the point. If we have a system to where they develop younger and we have leagues that pay more within the United States, I think you'll see soccer explode.
I mean, obviously, more people watch the World Cup than they do anything else, right?
Yeah.
Than any other sports. And the Super Bowl is, in my opinion, probably the greatest single sporting event. But when I heard and saw the numbers for what happened, how many people around the world are watching soccer, that's impressive. But in Bangladesh, they don't have, people, they don't have the resources, the amount of people that want to play American football. American football is just that, American football. Although the NFL's done a great job of getting other countries involved and trying to expand the game, just like basketball's doing right now. I just don't think it'll never catch up with soccer. But I mean, allegedly, soccer's not even the most popular sport in the world. I guess apparently, like not lacrosse, but
cricket.
Cricket. Yeah, I guess it's just as popular.
Yeah.
As far as like amount of people playing. But I mean, golf. It took Tiger Woods to become who he was for golf to be on the main stage, and millions and millions and millions of people play golf around the world. But as soon as that superstar fell off, to your point earlier, it's over.
Done.
People don't care.
Yeah.
When Serena Williams and Venus Williams isn't, and they're not Roger Federer, they're not doing well in tennis. Who's watching tennis? All things are driven by these stars.
Yeah.
And I think the soccer stars, the main stars, the people that are force fed to us, even as a casual fan, are not here in the United States. Those people are overseas. Ronaldo, I can't. Messi. Those are the people that are force fed to us as the stars. That's the people we see on SportsCenter, but I can't go see them play all the time when they come and do some exhibitions if they show. But other than that, I can't see them here. So Dempsey is pretty good. Tim Howard is pretty good. But where are you going to go see him play?
Yeah, when y'all are talking about all this, the name that comes to mind when I think of the last American soccer player to really give us a buzz is Freddie Adu. Mm-hmm. When Freddie Adu was introduced,
Yeah, I remember that.
people were like, oh, wow, this is going to be the start. American soccer is going to start to take off. And he wasn't older. He was like 15,
Yeah, he was
16.
really
young.
Yeah.
So that's what made your point. Like he would start it really, young. He didn't amount to anything.
Right.
But I think that's what the sport is missing. Once we have someone that we can look at and be like, this guy is a star, that's when soccer is going to take off. We have to find someone to be the face of soccer here in America. And I think it's going to happen sooner than you think. That's with everything going on with NFL.
I mean, when Chastain and the ladies won on the World Cup, like that, with the Women's World, that was amazing, right? It was amazing. And now we see even the disparity between what they were getting paid and what Hope Solo's done to try and help bring light to that for women getting paid in soccer. And I'm some of the stuff I said about soccer, I say that in jest, but like, because I know a lot more about soccer than what some people probably think. Because I
Playing FIFA, for goodness sakes.
all the time. But what I like about it is that it is a world game, and that literally anybody can play soccer. Literally, you may not be very good at it, but if you can run up and down the field, you can play soccer. Not everybody can play football. Not everybody can play basketball. Contrary to popular belief, everybody can't play basketball. Everybody can't play golf, and most people can't hit a baseball very well. But all of us can literally run up and down the field, and most of us can kick a ball. It may not be very good, but we could do that. That's why if you go to any park around Houston, it's probably taken up by soccer teams. Soccer is played in abundance around the world. But as far as like mainstream stuff, we're missing those stars.
Yeah.
And you don't have anybody. And when you've got 10, 15, 20 in basketball, you've got endless number in football. That's what the mainstream people see. And so that's what we talk about. SportsCenter, you'll see a good bicycle kick every now and then. But other than that, soccer's not on there. Golf, this is falling off the face of the earth. Mm-hmm. And that's the sport of gentlemen. I mean, like if you really, golf is a great sport. Major payouts, a lot of money being made. There's people right now you couldn't get even someone who you consider to be a sports fan right now. Say, name me 3 people in the top 10 in golf.
They can't name.
They probably can't. They guess and hope that they were right, but they can't name them.
They'll probably mention Tiger Woods now.
Yeah, probably.
But that's what is missing, and that's what drives any sport is a brand name, someone that can be a face of that league.
So who's a superstar in MLS right now?
I can't name one. A superstar?
Who's the superstar?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I can't
When you
name
say
one.
superstar, I know players, but when
Yeah.
you say
Who's the
superstar,
star? Who's the face of the MLS?
There isn't one. That's the problem. There isn't really a face. Even in baseball, people know who Bryce Harper is.
Yeah.
He's pretty much the face of the MLB.
Well, he was. He's got some comp now. He's got some comp now. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, he is probably the man.
And that's what makes any Mayweather is the face of boxing. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers are the face in the NFL. Kevin Durant, LeBron James, they're the face of basketball. Ronaldo is the face of soccer. I can't name the face of hockey either. Actually, I don't know who that person is.
That's definitely Sidney Crosby.
Sidney Crosby, yeah.
Crosby.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Sidney Crosby. I was getting ready to say Gretzky. That's how old I am. Wayne Gretzky was a beast.
You're tripping. You're tripping. But but I think we should probably show some love to some of these other sports. I know the Astros are balling right now. I mean, they're just winning games in dramatic fashion. They're continuing to do that. The Dodgers, we should look out for them. This kid, Aaron Judge, in New York is on the brink of being a superstar.
Boys on steroids.
Maybe.
He's on steroids.
That means not he was to get as big as that dude is. But Cody Bellinger in Los Angeles. I mean, like, there's a lot of superstars. Chris Sale is balling, for the rest. I mean, I think we've got stories, but even us, as podcast hosts, we don't talk about that type of stuff. Yeah. And I love baseball, and we still don't talk about it.
Well, like, it's not, people in general, if I go out somewhere and I'm talking to someone about a certain sport event or something like that, it's NBA or NFL. I very rarely talk to anybody about the MLB. It just doesn't happen.
But come playoff time, when the Astros are hot, or when they choke,
Houston. We're in Houston, though. Okay,
right
here we go.
Right. No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Any team, when they start choking, if they miss it, then you'll get those casual fans that come in and play. And I think that's what baseball benefits from. There were more people at the Astros games this weekend. They don't know anything about baseball, but it's affordable, and it was a family, and it's a tradition to do.
And
something
the
like
Astros
that.
are good now,
and they're good now. So they got people coming. The Astros were good coming into the season, and you can give a ticket away. And they were getting 25,000, 30,000 people to the game. 25,000.
I've probably been offered 20 baseball tickets in my life, and I've turned them all down.
I know.
You can't pay me to go watch them.
See, and give them to me. Just send them, take them and give them to me, because I will go.
Boring.
It's not boring, man. It's a lot more excited than soccer.
I disagree.
I disagree with that.
I disagree.
You
with
could
that.
get stung by a bee sitting at a baseball game. Just stung for no reason. That doesn't happen anywhere else. No.
Soccer, even if the game is boring, the crowds are awesome.
Yeah.
In baseball, they're just sitting down there, selfies, they're not doing anything.
It's on a regular when you watch ESPN and they'll show a fan sleeping. Laid out, hat down.
It's because it's midnight, man. We're going extra innings. We get free.
What's up with all these late games?
Because
man?
we don't play to ties. We win. Somebody's going to win. We play to win the game. And that's what baseball does. We don't tie nobody in baseball. We're going to play. If it's 18 innings, it's 18 innings. You get 2 games for the price of 1. Ain't nobody going home and tie. Nobody wants to do that.
No, everybody's going home. It's just the players out there.
I'll tell you one thing, though. Baseball and hockey have the best brawls out of any other sport. I know that's out there in left field, but baseball and hockey.
I agree.
They have the best
Who
brawls.
has the best flopping?
NBA. NBA has some phenomenal
I gotta go with soccer.
Soccer's got the best flopping when it comes to that. Soccer is entertaining when it comes to that.
Yeah,
very entertaining when it comes to that.
It is. I just say NBA just to say NBA.
But we didn't even mention we're talking about popular sports. We didn't even mention NASCAR.
That's a Southern thing, though.
It is a Southern thing.
It's not a national thing. I think it's a Southern thing.
It's pretty national. Have you heard about what happens what goes down at these raceways? You're talking about 100,000 plus people, weekly at these events and making some really, 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 really huge events out of guys driving around an oval.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And it's like a weekly thing.
The thing with NASCAR, I think it's, like I said earlier, it's a regional thing. I think there are people in the South and maybe in the West, in California and that area, who are really into it. But as far as it being a national sport, it's the reason why we're not talking about it. It's not. It's not a national sport.
So I think, I want to say this year, or maybe last year, I'm not for sure, the attendance appeared to be declining some. But I'm telling you, when I was in Vegas, my family and I were there for about 3.5 years. When I was in Vegas, they had their honors event, and we got a chance to go down there and meet some of the drivers and look at some of the cars, and got a chance to see what they do. They're very, very fan friendly, in my opinion, and it's not something I've ever done, something I want to do. But I think now people know, and maybe it's just because of SportsCenter, but I guarantee you, people probably know race car drivers' names.
We do. And I think NASCAR is at a point where it kind of needs the stars. Some of the bigger stars are retiring. You got your Jeff Gordon. He retired, I think, a couple years ago. You got Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's getting ready to retire. Tony Stewart. So I think it's that sport as well. It needs star power. And if it doesn't have that, it's not gonna be relevant. Even when it does have that star power, we're still not gonna talk about it. I can imagine having a podcast specifically for NASCAR.
I'm sure there's some. I'm sure there's some out there. I'm sure there's some.
There are some out there.
No. I'm saying I can imagine us
doing it. Yeah. And if Jeff Gordon is listening, man, you could come on this podcast anytime.
Who's the most popular NASCAR driver that there has ever been?
Oh, Dale Earnhardt.
Dale Earnhardt? Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
without a doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's like we said, with any sport, they need that name. They need that face to drive that league or that sport. Because without that, people are just not going to watch. It has to be someone that's intriguing. Like Tiger Woods was as intriguing as it got. I mean, people were talking about it like he was their son or something. And it's really interesting to watch these people, Tiger in particular, his fall as well. People still talk about that. Like, what happened to him? Like, why did this happen to him? Stuff like that. So you need that face in any sport. Same thing with tennis. Even, Serena is probably the most well-known tennis player in the world right now, right?
Probably.
Over Federer and over Nadal.
Probably.
And she's a female. Nothing against her, but I'm just saying she's a female.
Right.
And she's the most well-known. And she's got this thing going on with McEnroe right now, which is hilarious. But
He's wrong, by the way. John, you're wrong. John is wrong. There's no way she'd be number 700. There's no way.
See, this is the thing with that. And it's kind of annoying. Is there any other sport where we have this conversation? Like, are we really going to talk about Maya Moore challenging any player in the NBA? No. We're not going to have that conversation. So why have it in tennis in the sport?
Because it's an individual sport. That's part of the reason why. And because Serena Williams is the most well-known tennis player in the world.
Okay, taking Annika Sorenstam. Y'all know who that is. The popular golfer. And even Michelle Wie, when she was coming up, people were like, oh, I bet she can challenge the men. No, we don't do that.
No.
Because, I mean.
So this is my thing, though, Trey. So, if you think that Serena Williams will not be 700 in the world, that means you think that other female tennis players would be high as well. Because Serena has been beat by other female tennis players, right?
Right.
Or is it just Serena Williams that you think would be higher?
Well, obviously, some of the females would be higher too. I don't think that every man would beat a woman just because she's a woman.
No, I'm talking about professional tennis players.
There's some professional tennis players on there that are trash. There's some professional golfers that are out there that are trash. And on any given day, if he would have said 400, 500, I think that you can't tell me right now that there's 700 professional tennis players out there that are going to beat this lady.
But I think you're missing the point. I think when people hear that comment, they're thinking she's going to play each one of the 700 one-on-one. Yeah, she might beat the 700th player in the world. Maybe. She might beat the dude.
But she's going to be ranked 700th in the world.
She has to be ranked there. That means she has to win more games than just that. Can she beat the number 700, 701, 702 in one tournament? I don't think so.
I don't think she would dominate this sport the way that she does if she was that bad.
No, she's not bad. Okay, you're kind of missing.
No, I'm saying if you're comparing her to other men that play right now, I think that was very misogynistic of him to say that 7. I mean, so don't even throw a number out there. But I think 700, I think that's ludicrous. There's no way.
Have you played tennis before in your life?
Yeah,
okay.
It's hard.
So I don't want to say this in the thing, but my ex, sorry, honey, my ex played tennis, okay, and she went to Texas Southern, which where I went, and she got a scholarship there, and I was like, I can beat you at tennis. She murdered me, okay, and I'm talking about day after day after day. She murdered me. Okay, so it's not as easy as you think.
I know.
Watch them out there doing that. So would you say that about any other sport, like Chris said? Do you think there's a female boxer that can beat a professional male boxer?
I think that's different.
Okay, but it's really not.
And there might be to be a professional boxer that's out there.
Different.
Maybe
That's different too. That's not the point too. Do you think that if they beat that one person, okay, does that make them ranked number one in that sport?
If you beat number one,
see, Serena might beat somebody one time, but can she consistently beat someone at an event to be ranked higher than 700?
So
no.
So how much faster are men serving than her?
It's a lot faster.
How much faster is it? Does anybody know?
I think it's close to 20 miles an hour on average.
On average, yes.
But that's not even the point. I think the point that people miss with this whole Serena McEnroe, women's tennis and men's tennis are two different sports. They're not even the same sport. They're literally two different sports. It looks the same, but when you recognize the speed, the power, the pace of play, and even the amount of sets that goes into it, they're literally two different sports that are being played.
Yeah, I agree. It is two different sports. It's different. You talk about college going into the pros. That's what it is. they're playing at a different speed than the men are playing. If Serena were to get herself in there with a Federer or Nadal, like if you want to say that she would be ranked higher than 700, then she would obviously have to be able to hang in some form or fashion with Federer or Nadal, and she just can't do it.
Right, but we're not saying she's going to be the best in the world. We understand.
No, I understand it, but the 700 tennis player in the world has a better shot at being Nadal or Federer than Serena Williams does.
I agree with that. But it's not even a question, though, right? I think the point that people miss with the whole, specifically with Serena herself, is Serena is a great player in her sport.
Right.
And that's just what it is. I think you do a disservice to Serena when you talk. Serena Williams herself went on, I think it was Letterman, and she was saying, if I played Andy Murray, I'd get beat 6-love, 6-love, 6-love. It'll be in 15 minutes. I can't hang with them. She recognizes that.
But she's talking about the best in the world,
No,
not
but
the
she wasn't
700.
just talking about the best player in the world. She was talking about the sport in and of itself. She says men and women are, she said herself, men and women are different. It's a different sport. I think what people got upset about when he quantified it, and he said 700 in the world, but he was just being honest. And it's not like this is coming from a slouch like me. This is John McEnroe. People forget about that. This dude
and he
is
didn't
a
just
legend.
mention it. Someone asked him a question,
and
that's where it came up.
So in the closest ones I could find, in the 2015 U.S. Open, Djokovic average serve on his first serve was 117 miles per hour. Serena's was 109. Andy Murray, who was ranked very high in the world at that time, 114 miles an hour, and Serena's was 109. Her average second serve was 5 miles faster than Andy Murray's, so she didn't double fault. Maria Sharapova's was 7 miles faster than Andy Murray's, their second serve. And Djokovic's second serve was 96 miles an hour, which was only 5 miles faster than Serena and 3 miles faster than Sharapova. So when you think about that, those men that they're playing and they're smoking have to return serves that are coming just as fast as these ladies. So those 700 players in the world that are getting ace after ace after ace after ace, I don't think there's going to be that big of a difference, man. I really don't think that big.
So you think instead of her being 700, she'll be 500?
I don't know. I don't know what the number is, but I think it's disrespectful to tell somebody who's probably.
But I didn't see it as being disrespectful. I think that McEnroe was actually giving his honest opinion on where she thought she would be ranked.
She is the most decorated tennis player ever. And I think it's disrespectful to say that about somebody like that.
You see, I see it the opposite way. I think it's disrespectful to the 700 male player in the world to even mention her. Because like I said earlier, I think most people would agree Maya Moore is the best WNBA player we have right now. Nobody's going to debate that. You can probably throw a couple other players in there, but she's not going to make an NBA roster. You could do the same thing with every other sport.
You're talking about that's a totally different game. That's a totally different game.
And what people don't recognize is men's tennis and women's tennis is a totally different game. It is not the same game at all.
I understand that, but Serena Williams obviously she's not the normal or average woman player, or else she wouldn't have had the success that she's had right now. So you're not talking about just a regular woman playing tennis. You're talking about Serena Williams, the best woman's tennis player to ever play.
I agree with you. That's why I'm not giving you a slouch.
Right. So I don't think that we can say that. And Maya Moore, she might be the best WNBA player right now, but she's arguably, you can't say that she's the best WNBA player ever.
She's one of them.
One of them, but Serena is. In an individual sport, she is.
To me,
there's
fine.
No doubt.
Then name your best WNBA player. I mean, she's not going to make an NBA roster. She's not going to make a D-League roster.
That's different.
She's not going to make a Division I roster. She might not even make a high school roster.
What makes tennis so much different than any other sport then?
First of all, it's an individual sport.
Well, so you think that a number one female golfer, can hang in a men's league?
In a men's tournament?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have 700 golfers in a tournament. You've only got.
But do you think they can hang?
Not on the PGA Tour.
Why? So why is that so different? You just say individual.
Well, the women hit from a different tee. First of all, so they hit closer. They don't normally hit from the tips.
And what you're missing is that in women's tennis, there are certain things like that are different than men's tennis as well.
Like what?
Like just the way that they serve.
What?
They don't really serve the same either.
How do they serve different?
I mean, the form is a little bit differently.
But okay, So, do you think you would? Could you see a Serena Williams serve? Could you get your racket on it?
No. I don't play tennis at all. I can't. I don't play. Like I told you, I lost to someone that wasn't even nowhere as good as her. So I'm just telling you, it is different.
I agree. It is, but it's not. The baseline's the same. They use the same court. It's the same width, right? They use the same types of rackets, same balls.
I think Serena Williams would agree it's a different sport. I think
I'm not doubting that.
I think that's where people get caught up with tennis specifically. They think, oh, men's tennis, women's tennis is the same. It's a different sport.
No, I agree with you. I totally understand that. I just think that to be disrespectful and say she'd be 700, I think is wrong. To say that Maya Moore wouldn't make a high school team, that's disrespectful.
Okay. I mean, when I say high school team, let me back up. I don't mean any high school team. I'm talking about the elite teams. You know, those teams that get together and go to those academies. I don't think she makes one of those teams. Not one of the academies. Now, if she making my high school team in, some district, oh yeah, she'll make the team. But I'm talking about these academies where the LeBrons, the Carmelos go.
But then again, you're talking about the elite. We're not saying she would be the top 10 in the world, top 100 in the world in men's. I'm not saying that. But to say she'd be 7, don't put a number on it.
What other tennis player then, women's tennis player, do you think will be able to be ranked number 700 in the world in the men's league?
I mean, don't. I'm just saying, don't put a number on it. I mean, if we don't know, didn't we have this conversation with Billie Jean King didn't they go through this with her a long time ago, saying that she wasn't going to be able to beat, a man, and they wound up playing?
It was the battle of the sexes.
Yeah,
and that dude was old.
Right,
everybody knows that.
Right, but still, I mean, I'm
not saying that she won't be able to beat someone. I think she might be able to beat a men's tennis player, but on a consistent basis, playing on a tour.
So how
not going to be
consistent is number 700? How consistent is he? He's consistently terrible. He's terrible. That's how consistent he is. And he's probably never played number 100.
That's how they'll make her look if she could play there consistently.
I doubt it. So I hope.
And then you also have to remember she's playing their sets.
Oh, so that's a difference right there.
That's a
3 out of 5.
Huge difference.
That's a huge difference.
What's the huge difference?
The amount of sets that they play.
Right. Well, I mean, and depending on what tournament they're in.
That's true.
But depending on what tournament,
most of the smaller tournaments do go.
Or 2 out of 3. Yeah, most of them are 2 out of 3. But
true.
the longer ones, but that's totally different. But she's not your average person. She's not. I don't think her sister would have been 700 in the world when she was good. I think she would have been better than that too. I just don't think it's fair. And so I don't. Again, call it what you want, but don't put a number on it. Don't be disrespectful. That's like us, downplaying what.
So let's just replay this a little bit. Let's say McEnroe was asked a question: how good is Serena Williams as far as the men's league? Let's say he said, "Oh, she'll be number 50 in the world."
No.
Let's just say he said that. What will people say? She's not going to be that high. That's what people will say. Okay, then he'll say, "Okay, no, I'm sorry, 400." Then there'll still be people just like you saying that's disrespectful. So he gave his honest opinion in saying 700. I don't see where it's disrespectful. I really don't. I can't see what he would say then. What would he say? That she can hang with the men?
I think, Trey, correct me if I'm wrong, what you're saying is he should just not quantify.
Just don't quantify. Yeah. I don't know where she would rank. It's hard to rank. Just like right now, when we try and compare Bill Russell's Celtics to Shaq and Kobe's Lakers, it's different eras. Like that's a different basketball game. That's a totally different basketball game.
That's what makes sports talk radio, though, right? That's what makes our podcast doing that.
Right.
So I mean, that's what we do.
Right. So, but we have to refrain from even doing that, and we don't even really find that because you never know. And so him saying that about Serena, maybe once she has the baby, starts her own family, she says, "You know what? Give me number 700 in the world and watch me smoke him." 6'1", 6'2".
She might smoke him, but can she smoke the next guy, 701? Can she smoke 702?
So in 2017, why do women have to continue to prove that? If she's not a woman,
no, she doesn't have to prove anything else at all.
So then why say that?
Because he's John McEnroe. But he's also John McEnroe.
So he also was asked a question a little bit later and asked to rank his top tennis players of all time, and then he throws her in as number 5. So your number 5 tennis player of all time is number 700 ever in the world?
Because
get out of here with that.
I don't understand.
Miss me on that.
Okay. So look. If that's the same thing what I said about Elijah Wan being one of the greatest first round draft picks ever because of what he was able to do. Now, just because she's on the women's side of tennis doesn't mean she's not one of the greatest tennis players of all time. I mean, she has to be because she's the greatest female tennis player of all time.
I just think
but
that's
it doesn't
very
mean,
misogynist.
Let's just say people might think it's racist, sexist, whatever you want to call it, okay, because of what he said. But he's John McEnroe.
Who cares?
Because that's the kind of things that he says. He says it's like Charles Barkley.
Well, McEnroe's an
Charles
idiot.
Barkley says things that are honestly on his mind.
And he's an idiot sometimes too. And he's my favorite player
That's
ever.
fine. But that's why people love him also.
I love
because
him.
he says exactly what's on his mind. I cannot expect John McEnroe to sit down here in front of me or anywhere and say, well, I think that she would be ranked this. BS. Tell us exactly what you think, John McEnroe. We know who you are.
He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was
exactly.
doing. And he was wrong.
It's kind of the mix between him and Serena. It's kind of like a perfect storm kind of thing. Because Serena's not going to let him just get away with saying that. But John McEnroe's not going to back down either. He's not going to apologize either for what he said because that's just honestly what he thought.
He doesn't need to apologize. He was wrong. And I
If
think
you're wrong about something, then you might need to apologize.
Well, I think he kind of did apologize when he said, you know what? She's my top 5 player ever.
But he's always thought that.
So why?
He's always thought
why
that.
put a number out
because
there?
he's still being honest.
No. I can't wait. I just hope. I hope she just gets the opportunity to.
And that's Serena. I would not expect anything less from Serena. That's my point too. She's going to come back exactly the way she wants to come back. Like, okay, you think I'm center of the world? I'm going to prove you wrong. That's fine. I don't think there's a wrong either way. I really don't.
Yeah, I think in 2017, I think with him being the person that he is, and as far as being well respected, I just think that you could pay. She's the greatest tennis player, arguably ever. Period. As far as the accolades and the decoration, she could be the number 1 tennis player ever. But to disrespect her like that, and I want to get into race and all types of, I just want to say it's because she's a female. It don't come at her like that. Like I think that's just disrespectful. I think that's like downplaying what Michael Jordan's accomplished and saying he wouldn't do anything. I think that's like downplaying what LeBron has been able to accomplish. That'd be like somebody forget the race, right? For someone to say, you know what, LeBron's not one of the best ever. If LeBron played back in the 90s, he'd be, not even a top 10 player. That's blasphemy.
But
right?
he did say she's one of the best ever. Though.
He said that after he got all that backlash.
But he's been said that.
No. This is what I made clear about McEnroe's statements during that same interview. So it wasn't a different interview. He didn't say she was one of the best female players of all time. He said she was one of the best athletes.
I thought that came afterwards.
No, that was during that interview. That's what enrages me about everybody going crazy on it. He said athlete. He didn't.
And
say
what she is.
Exactly.
She is one of the greatest athletes of all time. But
she's earned that though. That's a given. Anybody says that. But then after he makes it, so he said after he made his controversial remarks, then he came back and said she's the fifth best ever.
But what people don't realize is
so your 5th best player ever would be ranked number 700.
But what people don't realize,
get out of here.
John McEnroe, out of all of the big tennis experts and analysts on ESPN, he lauds praise on Serena every single chance he gets the opportunity.
So why even say that? So why even disrespect her like that? Because to me, that's a slap in the face. And I'm not Serena Williams.
Well, for Serena Williams to think that, that's quite okay. Jordan would take anything that anybody said as being disrespectful. So Serena thinks that, that's fine. But I cannot expect anything less from John McEnroe but to give you his honest opinion about how he feels.
So 23 Grand Slam titles, and I'd be number 700, and I'm still playing at the top of my game, and I'd be number 700. That's blasphemy.
Well, but to your point,
there's not a number 700 in the world wouldn't go to the women's side and win 23 Grand Slam titles.
Say what now?
Number 700 in the world wouldn't go play against women and win 23 Grand Slam titles.
That number 700 men's player
would not win 23.
Make it look like he does not belong there.
No.
Yes, he would.
No.
Yes, he would.
No. I doubt it.
So, okay, basically what you're saying is they should just go ahead and
mix the sport.
Right.
No, I didn't say that.
Because what you're saying basically is it's not just Serena. Let's throw Serena out of the equation. Then name a female tennis player that can hang with the men.
But that's not what this is about. This isn't about Sharapova or any of the other women. This was about.
So if he said that about Sharapova, he said Sharapova would be number 700 in the world. Would it be disrespectful to her?
Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be as disrespectful because she's not as good as Serena. She's not the greatest.
So if someone tells you the truth, it can be disrespectful, right?
It's not the truth. That's all. That's perception. Like I told you, Olajuwon shouldn't be in the top 5 of number 1 draft picks ever. That's your perception.
Number 1 overall draft
Number 1 overall. He was not. He should not be in that list.
He should be.
No, he's not.
Now you're being disrespectful right now.
but that's his opinion and he's entitled to it. But you don't make that to me. You don't make that comment about the GOAT. I just think especially coming from somebody who, had a really good career, who had his issues, but had a really good career. I think you pay homage and pay respect, and respectfully don't make
Which
that.
he does on a regular basis.
So I can't tell you you're great and then slap you in the face.
If
I do it nicely,
if a question comes up, this is the thing about people and how they perceive other people, right? We praise Charles Barkley all the time because he speaks his mind. But then if he says something that people don't like, he's an idiot, right? He did say something recently that I didn't agree with. It was about Isaiah Thomas. And he thought that it was a bad look for the NBA. He got a lot of backlash for that. He really did. And I was one of those people that thought, why even say that? Like, why even say that it was a bad look for the NBA? But that's generally how he felt about the situation. This is how John McEnroe generally feels about Serena playing in the men's league.
John McEnroe is not Charles Barkley. He may have meant to tennis what Charles Barkley meant to basketball.
But why is there a difference, though?
There's a huge difference. First of all, Charles Barkley's a household name.
So what Charles Barkley said was not disrespectful.
What about him crying on the bench and all that type of good stuff?
It was a bad look for the NBA.
I thought that was very disrespectful.
Okay.
I thought that was very disrespectful. And I think that was inconsiderate of what Charles Barkley said. I understood what he was saying. I don't think he should have said that.
Yeah, the same thing about John McEnroe. I understand what John McEnroe said. I'm not going to go as far as say he shouldn't have said that.
So then what's the difference?
Because this is the difference. Because we can't just handpick who we want to say certain things.
I don't want Charles Barkley to say that about Isaiah Thomas, but
if you really look at it from different people's perspective, anything that Charles Barkley says is disrespectful. And some of the same things that he says that you think aren't, other people do because he speaks his mind. As opposed to someone who just says, Brock Osweiler, he's going to say the right thing all the time. Yeah, so no one thinks anything he says is disrespectful. To a certain point, they're like, bro, speak your mind. What are you really trying to say?
Right, but you can't quantify what John McEnroe said about Serena Williams. You can't say that. You can't even. There's what in your mind makes you think she'd be number 7 of all the numbers in the world.
I think this is the one.
So why not say 1,000? But why not say she should be dead ass last? Why not say?
But
that?
if you're John McEnroe, I can see if I came on, right. So let's use me for an example because I don't play a sport, and I come out and I'm on the radio or TV or whatever, and I say, "Oh, Serena will be the number 700 ranked man." I can't quantify that because number one, I didn't play a sport,
right,
and number two, I don't even analyze a sport like that. But this is John McEnroe. He was no scrub playing. A lot of people argue he's top 10 male tennis player of all time.
I get it.
So this is a great player, not just a random player. It's not even an Andy Roddick. This is John McEnroe.
Right. So,
and they asked him a question, and not just that, you have to understand, as far as the male tennis players are concerned, they're the ones who are asked this question all the time. Well, couldn't a female hang with y'all? And he said it when he was asked. He was like, I get asked this question all the time. And he was basically saying, you don't ask that in other sports. Why are you asking that in my sport? He was, in many ways, he was feeling disrespected by people continuing to ask him this question. That's why I see it. And he answered it honestly.
Right.
Like, he was like, if y'all going to keep asking me this question, I'm going ahead and give y'all the realness.
Right,
this is
right,
true.
right.
Because I played with these people.
Right. It's different when you ask something the first time. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to play nice. Now I'm going to give you the nice answer that everybody's going to be okay with. Then the second time, the third time, the fourth. That's true with anybody in any situation. At a certain point in time, when someone asks you that question again, you're like, okay, you know what? Just so we can squash this, I'm going to give you a real answer on how I really feel. And I'm not going to apologize for it. And that's what happens.
Well, I just think that, like I said, I think that's it's something that we'll never be able to know because she'll never play on the men's circuit. But I just think that it would have been better for him just to not even put a number out there. I don't know where she would rank at on the men's circuit. Women they have their own circuit.
Either.
All I know is she's the greatest women's player to ever play.
And I agree.
That's the answer he should have said.
I agree with you. I do. But that wouldn't be John McEnroe.
Right. Well, he's still an idiot.
I think he's an idiot too, but he's still going to say what he's going to say. I think Brock Osweiler is an idiot, but he's always going to give you the politically correct answer every single time. Oh, so we went from wow.
Well, you wanted other sports.
And we talked about tennis of all sports. If someone made a bet and said, what is the sport that y'all going to talk mostly about in this podcast? I wouldn't have said tennis.
Yeah, I probably would have said if we're going to pick a different sport, it'd be soccer. But I just want to be clear. Serena, I love you, girl. Y'all know that. If there's one woman on this earth that I love, It's you, baby.
We are totally averted away from everything right now. Oh, gosh. Is that it? Are we done?
That's it, man.
I just want to tell to our listeners, please subscribe, leave comments. I'm not getting enough comments. We want to know how we're doing. Leave comments, subscribe. Let us know how we're doing. Sorry the show went for so long, for an hour. It's Trey's fault.
Cowboy Nation. Laker Nation, baby.
And, well, anyway.
Shout out to LeVar Ball, baby.
We're waiting on you, LeVar.
Serena, join the show.
No. Yeah. Yes.
That's all I was like, no. Serena, join the show. John McEnroe, come on, join the show too.
Thanks for listening to the New Channel Sports Podcast. Leave comments. Please rate the podcast with 5 stars. And don't forget to subscribe. Check out the podcast daily for sports news and scores. Thursdays for the take of the week. And every Tuesday and Saturday for discussions on hot sports topics.